Lions season for 2020. I do need to apologize, guys. This one's been a little bit rushed. Season is already underway, and I'm just starting to get this one ready now. Um, I'm kind of doing most of it off the top of my head. I usually spend a bit of time researching, but yeah, too many Super Rugby and Six Nations games on. Apologies, but yeah, I will definitely look to the comments of this one for any insights into some of the guys that I'm not that familiar with, of which there is a few. I look at the Lions squad for 2020, you'd probably say it's a bit of a team in transition. They've kind of been slowly bleeding players abroad for the last few years, and as with most of the teams in Super Rugby, there's been a bit of an exodus following the 2019 World Cup. So I did do a season review for the Lions, which I did properly research. I'll chuck that up there if you haven't seen it. But in terms of some of the guys who are no longer with the Lions, there's a few. Malcolm Marx has gone to Japan. Short term, he is going to be back at the end of the season. Whether or not it's in time to play or not sure. Lawrence Erasmus has also gone to Japan. Stefan Levis went to the Premiership. Quacker Smith gone to Japan. Warren Whiteley, unfortunately, he retired, but that guy, he's had his injury issues, so you kind of feel for him. It's just one of those things that sometimes happens. Nick Groom's gone off to the Pro 14. Lionel Mapu has gone to France. Harold Forster's gone to Japan. Ruan Combrink's gone to France. Piwa Dianti has been suspended with the drugs thing. Madosh Tambwe went to the Sharks. Sylvia Mahuza has gone to Japan. And the coach, Swiss De Brain, also left. I feel like that list is probably a bit longer than most teams. It's a sizable list. So, how they go with the squad without some of these guys will be a big question. They've brought in a few kind of blast from the past guys, like a lot of teams actually have. Cruden's back with the Chiefs. Mornay Staines back at the Bulls. Yanni Duplessis has come back to play for the Lions from his long stint in France. Willem Alberts has come back from France to play for the Lions. That guy's a monster. I'm not sure what kind of shape he's in, but that guy was always devastating, so I am keen to see how he goes. They've picked up a couple of guys from the Bulls in terms of Roloff Smith and Andre Warner, and Dan Creel from the Stormers, Duncan Matthews also from the Bulls. Jambo Olengo, I don't think he played for the Bulls last year, but he has signed from the Curry Cup anyway. So there's a bit of transition going on. New coach for them in Ivan Van Rooyen. So I think he kind of took over in kind of Swiss's absence a bit last year, but it will be an interesting one to see what effect he can have on this team. I mean, there's still some kind of Lion stalwarts in the squad. Carlu Sadi, I thought, looked really good last year. He was kind of a revelation. So, looking forward to seeing more from him. Manus Skuman, he's a bit of a pocket rocket. Like, he doesn't have the bulk, but he's got the skill. So, if you don't watch that guy getting over the ball, he will cause problems all day long. Daimani, dynamic ball runner, kind of has that Adi Savia look about him. So, he's still young. Definitely coming through. I think it's maybe time for a breakout season. I think this is probably his third Super Rugby season. I think they were kind of flirting with converting him into a centre, but I hope he does stay in the back row. Marvin Ori also needs more kind of regular game time. Tyrone Green has been very exciting to watch. Courtney Scorsan as well. Duncan Matthews is there. Elton Yankees is still around, so one can only assume that he's going to be running the show from 10. Andreas Kutsia at fullback. I'm sure I saw Lombard play last year, but for the life of me, I can't picture his face now that I look at his name on the board. So, that's a very brief look at the Lions. I don't think they're favoured to do much this season in terms of where they're going to get in the rankings. I think they're above some of the other South African teams in terms of their reputation, but I think a lot of people are picking them to not do that much. In terms of their fixtures list, I think that's actually one area where they do okay. They start off in Argentina. Now, every South African conference team, all the South African teams, have to go to Argentina at some point. You have to, and it's disruptive. A lot of teams have got that trip to Argentina wedged in where you don't really want it. Like, for example, the Bulls, they got the Sharks at Loftus, then a trip to Argentina, and then back at Loftus to play the Stormers. That's not easy to manage, I think. The Stormers have got the same thing. They go away to Durban, then they're in Argentina, and then they're at back at Newlands. So I don't think that's ideal. Whereas the Lions get that game out of the way first up, so it's not wedged between anything. Sure, they've got to go back home to play the Reds, but the Reds still need to travel at the same time. So both of those teams will be traveling to Joburg for that second round game. So it kind of evens it out, I think. Then they're at home to the Stormers. They get the bye in the fourth round, which is a touch early. But what I do like about the bye is it is exactly preceding their trip to Australia and New Zealand. So if the Lions want to travel during their bye week, they can. They can get acclimatized. But the Lions traditionally have been a team that likes to travel late. They're very big on those, like, what was it? They keep on South African time for the first game, and then they adjust for the week after. So whether or not they use it or not, the option is still there for them to do whatever they want in that week before. Waratahs and Rebels away, then Blues, and then Highlanders. So yeah, the positioning of that bye I think is good. Then back home to the Chiefs, Sharks, away to the Bulls, and home to the Sunwolves before a bye. So the spacing of the byes is pretty nice. They finish their final 5 games without having to leave South Africa, which is kind of a nice way to close off the season. In Durban to play the Sharks, then at home to the Bulls and the Crusaders, which is a tough team to host, but they've got a bit of an ongoing rivalry recently. They'd certainly like to get one over the Crusaders. A trip to Newlands, and then they finish off where they started, but at the opposite ground. So they start with the Jaguares and they finish with the Jaguares, but in Joburg rather than Argentina. So yeah, I think the fixtures list works. The amount of disruption in terms of the guys coming and going probably doesn't help. They've brought back a couple of veterans, which is nice. I've actually seen the lineup for the opening game, but I don't have it with me. I know Chituka's getting a game as well, so that's going to be cool to see how he goes. But yeah, better late than never. Sorry, it's a bit of a brief one, but that is the Lions for 2020. They're kind of becoming one of those teams that I secretly root for. So, not that it's that secret if you're saying it on YouTube, but anyway, I do hope the Lions can really have a good season. I got this Lions flag recently. I'm pretty happy with that, to be honest. But anyway, you guys let me know your thoughts on how the Lions will go. Do give me some insights in some of the new additions to the squad, and yeah, I'll talk to you again soon. See you later.